in which growing maturity rekindles the relationship between one pair of lovers, and self absorption carries another pair to the brink of death. Chapter 7. The next day was Sunday. Stepan Arkadyevich called in on the ballet rehearsal at the Bolshoi Theater and gave Masha Chibisova, a pretty dancer, newly signed on through his patronage, the coral necklace he had promised her the day before, and, backstage in the theater's daytime darkness, managed to kiss her pretty face, brightened by the gift. Besides giving her the coral necklace, he had to arrange to meet her after the performance. Explaining to her that he could not be there for the beginning of the ballet, he promised to come by the last act and take her to supper. From the theater, Stepan Arkadyevich went to the Okorny market, personally selected the fish and asparagus for dinner, and by noon was already at the Dussault, where he had to see 3 people who, fortunately for him, were staying at the same hotel. Levine, who was staying there after recently returning from abroad, his newly appointed superior, who had just taken over that high position and was inspecting Moscow, and his brother-in-law Karenina, to bring him to dinner without fail. Stepan Arkadyevich loved dining, but still more he loved giving a dinner. Not a big dinner, but a refined one as to the food, the drinks, and the selection of guests. The program for today's dinner was very much to his liking. There would be live perch, asparagus, and la pièce de résistance, a superb but simple roast beef, and the appropriate wines. So much for the food and drink. And as guests, there would be Kitty and Levine, and to make it less conspicuous, another girl cousin and the young Sherbatsky, and la pièce de résistance among the guests, Sergei Koznishev and Alexei Alexandrovich, Muscovite philosopher and Petersburg politician, and he would also invite the well-known eccentric and enthusiast Pestsov, a liberal, a talker, a musician, a historian, and the dearest 50-year-old boy who would be like the gravy or garnish for Koznishev and Karenina. He would rile them up and set them on each other. The second installment of the merchant's money for the wood had been received, and was not yet all spent. Dolly had been very sweet and kind lately, and the thought of the dinner gladdened Stepan Arkadyevich in all respects. He was in the merriest state of mind. There were 2 slightly unpleasant circumstances, but they both drowned in the sea of good-natured merriment that surged in his soul. These 2 circumstances were first, that yesterday, when he met Alexei Alexandrovich in the street, he noticed that he was dry and stern with him, and putting together the look on Alexei Alexandrovich's face, plus the fact that he had not called on them and had not let them know he was there, with the talk he had heard about Anna and Vronsky, Stepan Arkadyevich guessed that something was wrong between the husband and wife. That was one unpleasantness. The other, slight unpleasantness was that his new superior, like all new superiors, already had the reputation of being a terrible man, who got up at 6 o'clock in the morning, worked like a horse, and demanded that his subordinates work in the same way. Besides, this new superior was also reputed to have the manners of a bear, and, according to rumor, was a man of the completely opposite tendency from that to which the former superior had adhered, and to which, till then, Stepan Arkadyevich himself had also adhered. The day before, Stepan Arkadyevich had come to work in his uniform, and the new superior had been very amiable and had got talking to him as with an acquaintance. Therefore, Stepan Arkadyevich felt obliged to call on him in a frock coat. The thought that the new superior might not take it well was that second unpleasant circumstance, but Stepan Arkadyevich felt instinctively that it would all shape up beautifully. They're human. They're people just like us sinners. Why get angry and quarrel? He thought, going into the hotel. "Greetings, Vasily," he said, walking down the corridor with his hat cocked and addressing a servant he knew. "So you're letting your side whiskers grow. Levine's in number 7, eh? And take me there, please. And find out whether Count Anishkin," that was the new superior, "will receive me." "Very well, sir," Vasily replied, smiling. "You haven't been here for a long time." "I was here yesterday, only I used a different entrance. Is this number 7? Levine was standing in the middle of the room with the music from Zver, measuring a fresh bearskin with a yardstick, when Stepan Arkadyevich came in. "Ah, you shot it?" Stepan Arkadyevich cried. "A fine thing, a she-bear. Hello, Arkhip." He shook hands with the music and sat down on a chair without taking off his coat and hat. "But do take it off and stay a while," said Levine, taking his hat off him. "No, I have no time. I'll stay for one little second," Stepan Arkadyevich replied. He threw his coat open, but then took it off and sat for a whole hour talking with Levine about hunting and the most heartfelt subjects. "Well, kindly tell me, what did you do abroad? Where did you go?" said Stepan Arkadyevich when the music left. "I was in Germany, in Prussia, in France, in England, not in the capitals, but in the manufacturing towns, and saw many new things. I'm glad I went. Yes, I know your idea about setting up the workers. Not at all. There can be no workers' problem in Russia. In Russia, there's a problem of the relation of working people to the land. It exists there, too, but there it's the repairing of something damaged. While here..." Stepan Arkadyevich listened attentively to Levine. Yes, he said. "It's very possible that you're right," he observed. "But I'm glad you're in cheerful spirits, hunting bear and working, and getting enthusiastic. Sherpatsky told me he met you and that you were in some sort of despondency, kept talking about death." "And what of it?" "I haven't stopped thinking about death," said Levine. "It's true that it's time to die, and that everything is nonsense. I'll tell you truly, I value my thought and work terribly, but in essence, think about it. This whole world of ours is just a bit of mildew that grew over a tiny planet, and we think we can have something great. Thoughts, deeds, they're all grains of sand. But my dear boy, that's as old as the hills." "Old, yes, but you know, once you understand it clearly, everything somehow becomes insignificant. Once you understand that you'll die today or tomorrow, and there'll be nothing left, everything becomes so insignificant. I consider my thought very important, but it turns out to be as insignificant, even if it's carried out, as tracking down this she-bear. So you'd spend your life diverted by hunting or work in order not to think about death." Stepan Arkadyevich smiled subtly and gently as he listened to Levine. "Well, naturally, here you're coming over to my side. Remember, you attacked me for seeking pleasure in life. Be it not so stern, O moralist." "No, all the same, there is this good in life that..." Levine became confused. "But I don't know. I only know that we'll die soon." "Why soon?" "And you know, there's less charm in life when you think about death. but it's more peaceful. On the contrary, the last days are the merriest. Well, anyhow, it's time for me to go, said Stepan Arkadyevich, getting up for the 10th time. No, stay, said Levin, trying to keep him. When are we going to see each other now? I'm leaving tomorrow. I'm a fine one. That's what I came for. You must come to dinner with us tonight. Your brother will be there, and my brother-in-law Karenina. Is he here? Said Levin, and he wanted to ask about Kitty. He had heard that she had been in Petersburg at the beginning of winter, staying with her sister, the diplomat's wife, and did not know if she had come back or not. But he changed his mind about asking. She'll be there or she won't. It makes no difference. So you'll come? Well, naturally. At 5 o'clock, then, and in a frock coat. And Stepan Arkadyevich got up and went downstairs to see his new superior. Stepan Arkadyevich's instinct had not deceived him. The terrible new superior turned out to be a very courteous man, and Stepan Arkadyevich had lunch with him and stayed so long that it was past 3 o'clock before he got to Alexey Alexandrovitch. If you enjoy this format, please leave a like and subscribe and return tomorrow for the next chapter.